Hello everybody! Today we will paint a galaxy eye. It will look something like this. You can choose your own colors, but I went for a peachy theme. First off, we will start with the supplies you will need. You will need a sketchbook or some watercolor paper, a black fine liner. Make sure it's waterproof, this is very important. We will go over the black pen with watercolor later, and it would smudge terribly if it wasn't waterproof. You will also need some white gouache or something else to make highlights with, a brush, a pencil, and an eraser and a pencil sharpener. So, let's jump right into sketching. When sketching an eye, I usually start with a simple circle. The circle will guide my shapes, it will help me to make a properly shaped eye. Using your circle as a guidance, you will now try to make an almond shape like I'm showing you here. You will use the top and the bottom of the circle to make your eye round and connect your lines in the left and right corner of the eye, like this. Then you will make another circle, a half circle in your shape. This is where the iris and pupil will go. Usually, the iris and the pupil of the eye are not flat in the middle of the eye. Now you can erase the first circle you used as a guidance. I'm speeding up the process for you now a little. I'm just refining the sketch, adding an eyelid and some eyelashes. You can do that however you want. I just like bold eyelashes, and I also add the waterline of the eye and some bottom eyelashes, and that's it with my sketch. After this, it's already time for line art. I get my black fine liner, which is a micron fine liner in 05. You can choose whatever fine liner you want. I also like this Tombow Mono drawing pen in 03, but just make sure that they are not water soluble, otherwise you will smudge your entire line work when we go over it with watercolor later. Just like with sketching, add in all your details, add in the lashes, the bottom line of the eye and everything else you want to add. I just try to keep it simple because we will do a second layer of line art over the watercolor later when it's dried, just to make everything pop a little more. After your ink has dried, you can go ahead and erase your sketch. Now you can put down clear water around your eye. This is where the watercolor will flow later and give it that wonderful galaxy effect. And now we're already at the fun part. Adding your colors. I'm choosing yellow, some wonderful oranges, red and pink to create a kind of peachy vibe for this galaxy eye. You can do colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, just like yellow, orange and pink like me. You could do complementary colors like orange and blue. You could literally do anything you feel like. You just have to be careful about how your colors would mix on the page. If you, for example, chose orange and blue, both look very nice on their own, but when mixed they make a brownish color and we don't really want that. You could add a transition color in between, like yellow, so that your color can transition from orange to yellow, then mix with blue to make green, a greenish blue, and finally your blue again. As you can see in my example, I don't really have a problem with mixing the colors in a particular way, because yellow, orange and pink all make wonderful colors if mixed together. Now I'm just putting the pigments on the area that I wetted earlier, and as you can see the colors just blend really nicely and bleed into each other. When you put a new color down like I'm doing right now, you can see how the colors are just blooming into the water and how it just grows outward and flows everywhere where you've put the water. And this is what we will do all around the eye. We will just put down some colors, make them blend into each other and just have fun with colors, to be honest. And here you can see nicely when I pick the book up how the pigment flows down. And once again in slow motion, just watch that pigment flow down. Wonderful, isn't it? Something else I like to do is to add some extra speckles around the main shape of color, which I think just adds a little bit more interest. And now I'm already sketching in the pupil, which I wanted to be peach shaped. I just wanted to color the pupil like a peach, but after looking at it for some time I was like, that's not really for me, and that's exactly the moment, and I decided to just make the entire iris peachy colored. When your entire watercolor work is nicely dried, we can do some more line art. I like to do this because the watercolor tends to wash out the black lines a bit, and I just like to have my black lines popping. What can I say? I just go over the lines once again with my black fine liner and make sure everything is nice and how I want it. Next, I will use my black brush pen to color in the pupil. I just like to use it because it's really nice and black and just really opaque. You don't need to have a black brush pen to do this. You could also use some black ink or just your fine liner and scribble in the area. Or you could just use black watercolor or black gouache as well if you have that lying around. Acrylics are fine too, just anything that's opaque and black will do. Also, sorry for my head popping in all the time. I really have to get used to the camera above me and that I just can't put my head anywhere I want when painting. Now we're nearly done. We're just adding highlights now. I'm so proud of you for sticking with me through this. I'm using my white Arteza gouache, as you can see. I'm mixing up a good consistency of the color with the water, and then I'm just adding little stars, moons and dots around it, and of course highlights in the iris, as you can see here, to just make it pop and make it look like a little galaxy. I don't really have a system to this. I'm just adding the moon and the stars around the color wherever I want them and where I think they would look good. You don't have to be too precise about this, just like in a galaxy. Nothing is measured out really precisely either. And a few last finishing touches and basically we're done. I'm just showing you what this looks like finished a bit close up. I hope you had fun with this tutorial. I hope it helped you a bit. These galaxy eyes are something that I love to do in my sketchbooks because it's just so simple and you can play around with colors and it's just such a good exercise. I hope you had fun with this. This is my first YouTube video ever, so please like and subscribe. It would mean so much. See you soon!